Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session. I'm really excited for this one. We have Pardot plus microservices equals integrate anything. Steven Stouffer's going to take it away in a moment. Just wanted to let you know if you have any questions throughout the session, you can ask them in the Q&A functionality, and either Steven will try to answer your question or we'll save it toward the end if we have time. So take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, if there are any questions, nitty gritty or high level, I'm happy to answer them and stop what I'm doing and make sure you guys get the most value out of this as possible. But yeah, so my name is Steven Stouffer. Like she mentioned, I'm the VP of Marketing Operations at Sisend. A little bit about Sisend. Sisend is a full RevOps marketing agency. So we help clients implementations, migrations, and of course, integrations between Pardot as well as the full tech stack. So the agenda of what I plan on sharing here is I'm going to go over so the fundamentals of what I'm going to be talking about and like what microservices are, what different companies out there do integrations between Pardot specifically, but also just technology in general. But the majority of my session is actually going to be all a live demo. So it's going to be a little interactive. So I'm going to have some landing pages and some forms. I'm going to have everyone here fill out. More to come on that. And then I'm going to stop for questions at the end if there's enough time. So if anyone, again, has questions all throughout this presentation, please don't wait until the end to ask. I have a little feed off to my right here, and I'll be monitoring it all throughout the presentation. So what are microservices? So microservices at the very top level is essentially, I want to connect something into something. So for an example, I want to connect Pardot into Slack, which is one of the use cases I'm going to go over here, where I want to connect Pardot into HipChat, or I want to connect Pardot into Google Sheets, or Pardot into maybe an external database, or maybe another marketing automation platform. Maybe you want to connect Marketo into Pardot, Pardot into Marketo. Like these microservices can kind of sit between all these different tools and your whole technology stack and bring it all together and get them connected so information can transfer from one tool to another. Another way to use microservices as a way is to actually to standardize data. So maybe changing information between tool to tool. So maybe you're ingesting data from an external source, but they provide you maybe a date field in the wrong format. And we all know that like Pardot's kind of funky with date fields. So maybe you need to change that date format before pushing it into Pardot. And microservices allow you to do that in an automated fashion. So you're not kind of having to live in the CSV land of, I got a CSV from a partner or content syndication person. I kind of downloaded a computer. I got to spend a bunch of time kind of normalizing the data, and then I got to do a CSV upload into Pardot. If you have something like a Zapier or a Tray or a Workato sit in between, you can automate all of that, as well as have standardization through your process where you can intake information, get it to where it needs to go, but then also adjust it and create some logic in between kind of the start point and the end point. So how it works. So when you leverage a tool like Tray or like Zapier, there's 5 key components of those integrations. And I'm going to like build live here in a little bit. So bear with me. So there's the trigger. This is what kicks off some sort of workflow. So if you use Zapier, there's a Zap trigger at the very, very top. It's like a form submission or a data post or some sort of application listener happening. And if it meets the requirements that you've set, it triggers off the top part of that automation. Then there's data sources or source data. This is where throughout the integration, you may want to jump into different applications. So maybe the information is coming from a form, but maybe you want to enrich that data with something like Clearbit. Clearbit would be a data source that you can then push the record through, and then Clearbit would output the enriched information. And now you got in that workflow that you're building additional information built on top of the trigger. So you maybe have Pardot data coming in. Now you have Clearbit data, and then throughout that workflow, you can start working with that different information in different ways, which I'll demo. And then you have logic. So if you want to say, oh, if state is, Michigan or Texas, I want to do something different with that record than maybe everybody else. Or maybe if it's outside the United States, or outside North America, you can, maybe route that to North America or EU or APAC team. So there's logic based, right? You can do tree logic. You can just do kind of like Boolean logic where it's like true or false. Formatting. So I mentioned earlier the dates. So formatting dates, formatting times, formatting country, states, zip codes, phone numbers. I mean, the use cases are endless of how data might not always be the cleanest. So formatting information is also really important. And then at the very end, you have the action. So the end goal of what you're trying to accomplish. So this could be sending a Slack message. This could be posting the data to a form handler, which I'll go into a little bit more later, posting it into a Google Sheet. So it's that end goal of what you're trying to accomplish with your integration through a microservice. So those are the 5 components of it. If anyone has any questions, drop it into chat. But hopefully that was pretty clear. Now, you don't have to be a developer. You don't have to be a coder. You don't have to have any sort of experience with any sort of code. But I do want to go over some key components. It would be amiss to not talk about the data structure, JSON, which is a key component in connecting one tool to another. So I may say something like a key, or I may say something like a value later in my presentation. And this is what they are. So the key would be something like a field ID or some sort of unique identifier to a field. The blue over here on the left-hand side. And then the value is the information that we're pushing into that. So, or it's being pulled from. So in this case, first name is the key. The value is Steven. Last name is the key. Stouffer is the value for that. So if I say key or if I say value, I'm referring to one of those 2 things during the presentation. All right, so I'm going to build live. It's kind of the cardinal sin for presentations is never build live. Well, I'm gonna do that anyway. So everyone hope that this goes smoothly. But I'm going to build 2 main use cases. The first use case is I'm going to build real-time alerts with Slack. So when someone fills out a Pardot form, we are going to send some of that information submitted in the form, and we're going to send it to a Slack channel. The other use case, which I'm hoping I have time to get to, but if not, it's okay, is I want to ingest data from a third source or a third-party source. So let's say I'm working with a content syndication partner. They have their own form, their own landing page, their own stuff, and we're going to work with them to promote that asset. And as people fill out their form, well, we want the information too. In a lot of use cases I see, marketing teams actually just have to wait for a CSV or some sort of like data dump where it's like, oh, we'll send you the leads every week or every Friday as we launch this campaign. Well, waiting 7 days to get information is like a lifetime in that journey of the lead. So getting it as soon as possible is really important. So I'm going to show you how you can plug into third parties. Basically enable your marketing teams to accept the information in real time. So let's dive into the alerts function first. So I'm going to close out of here. I have this landing page here. This is a Pardot landing page. The content on this landing page is just filler content. So if you see lorem ipsum content, just ignore that. That's not the important piece of this presentation. The important piece is this form. So I'm going to pull this form up in Pardot. So as you can see, I have some fields. Some of them are required. Some of them are not required. This form on the Pardot side is right here. So what I want to do is I want to actually send this information when someone fills out this form to a location. Pardot enables all their users to do this by a really convenient section that it's kind of unknown or underutilized in my opinion, but it's the thank you code section. So Again, you don't have to be developers. You don't have to know code. I can actually provide everyone on this call with the script that I'm going to use if you are interested in having it. But I'm going to put in a little script here. So this script is going to look like this. I'll walk you through what it does. So here at the top, I'm basically setting variables. So these are the fields that are on my form. So I have first name, last name, email, company. If you have a custom field or default field, you can basically add or remove any ones here just by adding them to the end of the previous or the last one. So this is capturing all that information. And then it's going to post this information into a location. So right here, you see where it says webhook URL here. This is where the location that I want to send the information to. And this is how we get it out of Pardot. So up to this form submission, it's just really in Pardot and Salesforce. This script basically pulls it out and pushes it into a new location. And then at the very end here, I have this separate script. This is actually just a timed redirect, which is just a fun way of making sure that everything up here has time to process. And then it sends it to a location. In this case, I have it just basically just refreshing the existing landing page that it sits on. So now that I have my script, I have to update the location of where I want to send this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Tray and I'm going to build a new workflow. We'll call this live demo Pardot alerts. And then it's going to ask me what I want my trigger to be, right? I talked about this earlier. The very top first thing you need to do when you're building an integration is pick what your trigger is. For Zapier, it's also worded similarly. Well, you would also need to pick a specific trigger to happen. So I'm going to actually do this as a webhook trigger. Zapier also has webhook functionality, so you can do this just as easily in Zapier as you can in Tray for this part. So I'm going to click webhook. I'm going to create the workflow. And what's going to happen is it's going to create a workflow and it's going to basically provide me with a URL. This is going to be my post URL. This is the URL that I'm going to copy and put in Pardot to basically send that information to. So I'm going to just change this real quick to validate and respond. Okay, cool. I'm going to grab the URL here. If you were in Zapier, it would actually provide it once you created the trigger, but in Tray, you have to snag it here. So that's my URL. I'm going to go back to Pardot. I'm going to paste in that URL right here, just in between the two single quotes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save my form. So the foundation now has been set. I built my workflow to basically generate a webhook trigger. I take that URL, copy it over, put it into Pardot with my handy little script. And now I'm ready to test it. So I'm going to enable this workflow. And then if I look here in the debug section, it's going to show all the submissions, theoretically, if I did this right, on the Pardot side of when the form is filled out. So I'm going to just split my screen here, and we're going to see if this comes in. So I have my Pardot form over here, and I have my logs right here. So I'm going to just put in my name. Actually, let me refresh this screen just in case. All right, Steven Stouffer, send, Steven at send. Where am I from? I'm from Dallas. And then if I could integrate anything, what would it be? Slack. I'm going to submit that. My fun little thank you content I put in Pardot. And over here in Tray, I should see something pop up here pretty soon. We'll see if it worked. There it is. All right. So let me take a look at this. So I'm going to open up the webhook. I'm going to see what was submitted here. And here we are. Here's all of our information. So here's the first name. Here's the last name. Here's the email, the company, the states, the comments, and then the form. So I have hard coded the specific form. So now I want to do some stuff with this, right? So having it ingested through the top level part of this automation is great. Now I can work with it, but we need to kind of like do something with it. So I'm going to build on top of this. So I'm going to say, I want to do a lookup. I actually want to look up the record back in Pardot. So it came from Pardot. I want to look it up and make sure I can pull the ID from that record. So I'm going to drag Pardot over into here. And what this is going to do is it's going to look up the record by the email address that came in through the trigger. So it's going to jump back to Pardot. It's going to be like, who are you? Where did you come from? And then it's going to pull the ID of the record back to my webhook. And then I can do some fun things with it. Like I can send a Slack message. So I can send a Slack message saying somebody filled out the form over here on the landing page. I looked up the record in Pardot. This is their ID, and then I can post a Slack message. So I already did some pre-work here, but I built my own little message that I'm going to post into Slack. I'm going to include the first name information, the location, the company information, as well as the comments that were submitted in the form. And then I'm going to also create a button on this Slack message that will allow the user in Slack to open the record in Pardot if they want to. So I have to pick a channel, and I created a new channel here. It's called Demo. Here we go. Live Pardreamin demo. So it's going to post the Slack message into this channel. So here's what I need from everybody. I need everybody to go to a URL that's going to be dropped into chat. And I need you to fill out that form on the landing page. The landing page should look like this. Submit some information. I should note, this is at a demo org. No information is going to be saved. I'm going to delete it at the end of today. I don't care what email address you put in. You can put in whatever you want. This is just for fun here. So submit something, and we're going to take a look at what's going on. And then here's my Slack channel that I built. So if we see some submissions, we should see them come through here. So I'll give that a couple seconds for everybody to do. All right. I see maybe one submission came through. I'll also do another submission. Well, what else? John Smith, Google, email john.smith@google.com. Alice, Slack. All right. And it looks like I need to pick an authentication. That makes sense. Okay. There we go. I knew I'd forget something, and selecting the correct Salesforce org tops the list of what I should have done. So that's okay. I just changed that, so the new one should be coming in, should be working for that, and I can replace some of these. But thank you, everybody, submitting some information. I appreciate that. All right, cool. So let me open up the Slack group. Should see one come in here, and I can replace some of those other ones now that I authenticated the right Salesforce org. All right. So this is cool. Let me open up one of these. So it looks like Logan Child. Oh, hello, Logan. And then did one. Looks like we have another one from Bob Simon, company Gates, going to Mars. Maybe you should have been Elon Musk going to Mars. So that's cool. And then I would love to example of the script. Yes, Andrew, I can send you the script. It's very, very helpful. It's a very useful script. Let me just replay some of these now that I authenticated the let's see here. Email address, connect request, authentication still. Oh, Pardot's doing a wonky thing where it needs me to re-authenticate. So basically, once I have this information, I can do a whole bunch of stuff with it. It looks like my token may be expired for Pardot, so I'm gonna just sidestep that for a second. Or you know what? Let me just get rid of Salesforce. I'll just post it directly to Slack. Here we go. The alerts piece is still going to work. All right. Well, thanks for everyone for posting some submissions. That's awesome. That is great. Slack. Let me see here. Slack. Did I also forget the authentication for that? Yeah, I did. Okay, here we go. This is why they say don't demo live, but it's okay. We're going to get there. There we go. We'll replay some of these. All right, so we should see some stuff coming into Slack here in a second. As long as I didn't forget any other authentications. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get rid of this. All right, what other comments do I have? New Pardot extendability solve for some of this. Yeah, so actually Salesforce and Pardot are coming out with a Slack integration. So I thought it would be cool to basically show, maybe if you didn't want to wait for that to come out, or you didn't want, you didn't want to depend on that. Also, using microservices allows you to be a lot more flexible with what you do with the information. So maybe you want to post it to specific channels, or you want to manipulate the data. Like that's where microservices is, becomes really valuable. All right, so here we go. So we're going to sidestep the authentication issues that I just ran into. But this is what it looks like here in Slack. So we have Roman, looks like submitted one. Bob submitted one. Andrew, if you guys want to keep submitting stuff in the forum, they'll stream in here now. Logan, thank you for coming in from Atlanta. And then here are some of the comments. So chicken wings, integrate. Okay, so Teams. Yep, Teams is a fun one. You have to create a custom app for that, but it's okay. World Bank personal accounts. So here are kind of like the live stream. So the use case that you'd want to have is maybe like a small, medium enterprise type account teams with sales, and they could basically monitor this for real time, and they would get alerted if something came in. Or if you wanted to build an integration with a third party, the marketing team could be notified that, stuff is coming in. So, so let me replace some of the earlier ones, because I know that there was some here that first submitted that didn't get through. Here we go. Christina Anderson, thank you. John Smith from Dallas, I think that was mine. Bob Simon. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this kind of demos what you can do a little roughly, I admit, but you can connect basically a single form to a webhook and then post the data somewhere within your org. Any questions? Let me go over before I change gears here. When you're building these integrations, is there always a blanket checklist that you think through? Yes, there is a checklist. So one, where is the data coming from? Where does it need to go, and what format does it need to be in? Well, thanks, Dave. Indiana. Hopefully it's a little less windy there than it is here in Dallas, Texas. So the format of the data is actually huge. Making sure that it's in the correct format is something I'm always mindful of. As well as something that I think through building integrations is, can I use native integrations? Can I use a native functionality within Pardot or Salesforce that will do what I want to do? While this is a microservices session, which I love microservices, I love custom integrations, I always will do a native integration if possible. Microservices really slots in, and it really shines when you're trying to kind of go above and beyond that. You're trying to work with APIs, and you're trying to basically the native integration just won't cut it for you, and you need to kind of have something slot in and supplement the existing stuff. So that's really important, just making sure you're not over engineering something just to over engineer it. What other questions do we have? Oh, you guys want the script? No, I hear you. I'll send it. Also, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to DM it to you as well. All right, cool. So I wasn't going to do this, but I think I'm going to just stay in this workflow now that we have it working. I'm going to add in some additional functionality here. So I'm going to do Clearbit enrichment. So I'm going to actually enrich the record that I ingested from Pardot. So I'm going to do Clearbit. I'm going to snag Clearbit here. So now I'm going to add a step between Slack and between the webhook. So I'm going to select Clearbit. I want to enrich the company by the domain. Now, if you noticed, you didn't put in a domain on the form, right? So like I don't really have a domain. I have an email address, which has the domain in it, but it's a piece of the overall email address. So another thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to extract the domain from the email address. So Clearbit has something to work with. So I'm at a little text helper here. A lot of microservices have these type of tools available within workflows. So I'm going to extract the email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to parse the email into all of its components. So it's going to pull out the domain. It's going to pull out the first part. It's going to check to see if it's a valid email address. And that is going to allow me to push that information into Clearbit. So I'm going to map the email field to the email here. So I'm going to take in the email, and then it's going to parse it out. And then Clearbit is going to want the domain. So I'm going to map what it parses. I'm going to pull out the domain and map that to Clearbit. So let me rerun one of these through just to see if that works. Or if you guys want to keep submitting stuff, you're more than welcome to, but I can rerun one of these. Here we go. So here's my text helper. Here we go. So this is the email that was entered. This is where it broke it out into all of its components. So it is a valid email. The domain is here. And then Clearbit. Did I forget an authentication? I did forget an authentication. Here we go. And then it will enrich, I think his name is Dave. Yeah, Dave's company. It will enrich his record. So Dave, hopefully you don't mind me using your company as my guinea pig here. But here we go. So here's Clearbit. This is what Clearbit returned on Dave. So looks like Dave is located in Indiana. So I confirmed that he, at least the business is located in Indiana. Twitter handle, Facebook handle, looks like there's roughly about 30 employees. There's the global Alexa rank. So this is all that like juicy information that I can now pull, and I can use it in a number of ways. So let's say in my Slack message, I want to come in here and I want to say number of employees, and I want to map from Clearbit to my Slack message the number of employees that Dave has at his company, or those who submit stuff through this form. Actually, industry might be a good one. So I'll just do industry. Industry. Here we go. So now that I'm mapping Clearbit information into my Slack message, I'm going to rerun Dave through here. And we're going to see if that gets pulled into Slack. So here we go. Here's Dave again. Here's his location. This is the company he works for. And then now I'm getting industry information in here. So he never gave me an industry information on the form submission, but through kind of the microservice integration between Pardot and Clearbit, as well as Slack, I can kind of combine all this information and package it in a way and send it off to Slack for whoever needs to see it, can see it. I'm going to pause there. I think we have about 10 minutes left. Are there any other questions here? In your opinion, Trey or Zapier? Okay. This is a bit of a loaded question because I love Trey. Trey is kind of like, I love working in Trey. It's an enterprise solution or even like medium sized business solution to enterprise. But like, if here's the thing, if you're looking to just do Slack alerts, kind of like one touch point, one endpoint, Zapier is fine. Like I even built a workflow in here to do Slack alerts within Zapier. So you can Zapier has a trigger where you can listen for new prospects submitting forms. You can add in a filter to filter out the specific form that you want to kind of pass through the work or the Zap. And then you can send that information into a Slack channel. So like if I were just to do Slack alerts, I might actually consider doing Zapier. I mean, that's totally fine. But Zapier is limited in that you don't have a lot of branch logic. Like you don't have a lot of ways to be able to manipulate the data and kind of really branch it out. And Trey just makes it just stupid easy. So like if I were to come in here and if I wanted to branch something out, I could do it like pretty simply. Let me just click here. Let's say I want to add like 6 different branches, maybe like 6 regions for all the different countries. Like I can do this. Zapier is basically limited to just 3 within one Zap. And then also like if I wanted to, I could, create my branch logic and then like nest it within another branch. So like I just took this and copied it and put it into one of these branches. Um, like like you can get really creative with your workflows and create a whole bunch of logic that you really just can't do in Zapier. But if it's a pretty simple thing you're trying to accomplish, I approve of Zapier. It's pretty good. All right. Any other questions around anything you saw here, or if you're trying to integrate with something? I'm happy to kind of give you my 2 cents on if I've done it before or how easy or difficult it is. Um, Dave, you're good. Oh, okay. I'm assuming you said you're good, as in it's okay that I used your information. I appreciate that. Um, cool. Well, hopefully this was helpful. Trying to think if there's anything else that I could demo here. So another thing that you could do is you could actually push into a Google Sheet. So like if you wanted to take this information, um, if I can type, post it into a Google Sheet, I could do that pretty easily. So I just grabbed Google Sheet here. I want to create a new row. Let's see here. So let's do like first name. Let's do last name. Oh, last name, and we'll do email address. We'll just do 3 pieces of information. I know we're a little close on time. So first name, last name, email. And then let me get rid of this. These are some extra things. I was going to demo something else, but I kind of cut that on the fly. So we'll just do these 3 things. So let's say we want to log some information into this Google Sheet. So let me just replay, or if someone wants to submit some more forms, I'll just replay some of these. So here we go. So this is everything kind of pumping into a Google Sheet now. So I only mapped the 3 fields here on the left-hand side. Darth Sidious, I like that, at empire.org. Probably not a nonprofit. So the 3 columns on the left are all being populated basically in real time upon form submission. So like if I come over here to the form, let me just submit another one. We'll do John Smith at Google. Actually, it's just SpaceX. John@spacex.com from Mars. And I'll just post Slack again, submit that. And then we should see it here pop up just within a couple of seconds. Right underneath Darth Sidious. That's funny. Someone's having fun. John Smith here, john@spacex.com. So you can see how this would be really powerful, right? Moving information from location to location, as well as maybe adding or removing a data. So like here's a date field. So like if I wanted to populate a date field, I could just come in here, go to date and time helpers. I can come in here. I can say, get current dates. So the date of the submission. Come in here, say get current dates, time. Let's just do current date and time. So time zone, we'll just do UTC formats. We'll pick an existing format just to save on time. Month, day, year. I know that's not the approved Pardot format, but we're going to work with that. And then I'm going to map that to a new row, and we're going to pick the date field. Come on, date field. And then the value that I'm going to push into, I'm just going to drag this up to the date and time helper and use the results. And there we go. So I'm going to rerun some of these through. And it's going to rerun through the workflow with my changes. And we should see those changes here. So October 28th, that is today, has the information here on the left, as well as the additional information that I just built within the workflow. All right, any other questions? Am I missing anything? Other than everyone wanting the script. Cool. Well, I'll basically end this and say, if anyone has any questions, like reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you go to the landing page that y'all have been submitting forms and just click home, my social media profiles are all right here on the bottom of the page. And feel free to connect with me. I am happy to share that script that a few people have reached out to me on. And then if you have Zapier, if you have Tray, or if you have Workato or anything like that, and you need help building something, or you have questions about an integration, I'm happy to dive deep into like how you can make that happen and how you can get that information and format it and get it to where it needs to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. That was an amazing session. Just wanted to let everybody know, if you want to see the replay of this session, it'll be on the same page here in the Pardot platform for about 30 days after Pardot has ended. And then afterwards, it'll be on the Pardot website. So you can come back and see it anytime. So thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at Pardot.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Bye.